Have you ever just looked at a plant, a simple flower in a garden, a weed on the sidewalk, and wondered what secrets it's holding? Well, we're about to dive into this incredible world called pharmacognosty. It's basically the science of turning nature's own chemical wonders into the medicines we rely on every single day. And trust me, it's a field where something as simple as a garden flower might just be hiding a revolutionary cure.
So let's just put it out there. Could a common garden flower hold the cure for cancer? Now, that might sound like something straight out of a movie, but what if I told you it's actually already happened? This question, it isn't just a hook to get you watching. It is the very real starting point for some of the biggest, most important discoveries in all of modern medicine.
All right, to get how plants can heal us, first we've got to understand how they protect themselves. Because for millions of years, they've been in this silent, high-stakes war for survival. And their weapon of choice? A hidden chemical arsenal that is absolutely fascinating.
You see, plants make two kinds of chemicals. First, you've got your primary metabolites. That's the boring stuff, the basics for survival, like sugars and proteins. But then you have these secondary metabolites. These aren't for the day-to-day grind. Oh no. These are the plant's special forces. They're the poisons that make insects think twice, the irresistible smells that attract bees. And, as we've luckily discovered, they are the source of so many of our most powerful drugs.
So, let's jump right into one of the most powerful groups of these secondary metabolites, the alkaloids. I mean, the name itself kind of gives you a hint at their wild nature. They can be total lifesavers, but they can also be incredibly potent poisons. So what makes an alkaloid so special? Well, from a chemistry standpoint, it's all about a nitrogen atom that's tucked into their structure. This one little feature gives them a very specific molecular shape, and that shape allows them to interact with our own biology in really powerful ways. It's almost like they're a key designed to fit perfectly into one of our body's locks. And once they're in, they can do incredible things. Alter your perception, completely stop pain, and even fight cancer.
And there is no better example of this than the opium poppy. I mean, just look at this beautiful flower. From the milky latex that oozes from this plant's unripe seed pod, Papaver somniferae, we get one of the most famous alkaloids of all time, morphine. This one single compound from this one plant literally changed the history of pain management forever.
And this really shows you the critical trade-off, doesn't it? The poppy gives us morphine, which is hands down one of the most effective painkillers ever found. But that incredible power comes with some really serious risks, like shutting down your ability to breathe. It's the classic double-edged sword of this entire field. The line between a medicine and a poison is often just a matter of the dose.
But alkaloids aren't just about managing pain. They can be absolute lifesavers. Take a look at this, the Madagascar periwinkle. It's a pretty unassuming little garden flower, but hidden inside are alkaloids that hold the key to fighting one of the most feared diseases on the planet.
So, tucked away inside this plant is an alkaloid called vincristine. And it's what we call a cytotoxic compound, which is just a fancy way of saying it's toxic to living cells. Now that sounds pretty scary, right? But in the fight against cancer, that is exactly what you need. This one compound has become a cornerstone treatment for childhood leukemia. Just let that sink in for a second. From a common flower to a revolutionary cancer drug. It's just amazing.
And this just shows you how incredibly diverse this family of chemicals is. We've talked about morphine for pain and vincristine for cancer. But this same chemical family gives us nicotine from tobacco, a crazy powerful stimulant, and atropine from the deadly nightshade plant, which is used to dilate pupils in eye exams. They all share a similar chemical backbone, but they have wildly different effects on our bodies.
Okay, let's switch gears to our next major class of compounds. If alkaloids are famous for their dramatic effects on our nerves and our cells, then glycosides, well, they are the undisputed masters of the heart.
Now, glycosides have this really cool two-part structure. There's a sugar part, called the glycone, and then there's a non-sugar part, the aglycone. The easiest way to think about it is that the sugar part is like the delivery vehicle. It helps the compound get absorbed and transported through the body. But it's the aglycone that's the real hero. That's the active ingredient that actually does all the heavy lifting.
And here it is, the poster child for cardiac glycosides, the absolutely stunning but notoriously poisonous foxglove plant. For centuries, people in folk medicine knew this thing was dangerous, but they also knew it had this really powerful effect on the body. It took modern science to finally figure out how to unlock its potential safely.
And this journey from plant to pill is just laid out perfectly right here. It starts as this beautiful but toxic plant in folklore. Then scientists are able to isolate the active glycosides.
But the crucial, game-changing step is standardization, creating precise, predictable doses. That's the moment a poison gets turned into a reliable medicine like digoxin, which is still a frontline treatment for heart failure today.
So what does it actually do? To put it simply, digitalis is a cardiac stimulant. It basically helps the heart beat stronger and more efficiently by increasing the force of its contractions. For someone with a weak or failing heart, this effect can be absolutely life-changing, restoring function and giving them their quality of life back. Now I know what you're thinking. Alkaloids, glycosides, these sound like things you'd only find in some high-tech pharmacy lab. But here's what's so wild. These exact same chemical families are much, much closer than you think. In fact, they're probably sitting in your kitchen right now.
You know, the line between a food, a drug, and a poison, it can get really blurry. It's often just a matter of dose and context. The same types of chemicals we've just been talking about are present in tons of plants we eat and drink every single day. Okay, let's just do a direct comparison. That cup of tea you had this morning, it gets its kick from caffeine, right? Well, chemically, caffeine is a pseudo-alkaloid. It's a very close cousin to the true alkaloids we were talking about, and it gives you that classic stimulant jolt. And what about licorice? That incredibly intense sweet taste comes from a compound called glycyrrhizin, which is a type of glycoside. See? These aren't some exotic, faraway chemicals. They're part of our daily routine.
And this just drives the point home. Whether we're talking about the tiny leaf buds of the tea plant, Thea sinensis, or the gnarled root of the licorice plant, Glycyrrhiza glabra, we are constantly interacting with nature's pharmacy. It's not just about what's in a prescription bottle. It's right there in our pantry, too.
So after this super quick tour of nature's medicine cabinet, what's the big takeaway? Where does all of this leave us?
I think the main takeaway has to be this. For every single compound we've managed to discover, isolate, and turn into a medicine, there are thousands, maybe even millions more that we haven't even identified yet. The natural world is like a massive library, and we've really only read the first few pages.
Every single ecosystem, whether it's the deepest part of the rainforest or just a local park down the street, is a potential source for the next great medical breakthrough. The work of pharmacognosy isn't over. It's a continuous, vital exploration that's more important than ever.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. With so much of the natural world still a complete mystery, the question isn't if another major discovery is out there, but where. What cure is just hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to finally find it?